January 30th, 2025, Manistee County Courthouse, Northern Michigan. 18 inches of fresh snow outside, 27 degrees, wind whipping off Lake Michigan like knives. Inside Courtroom 3B, the heat is cranked so high the radiators hiss, but nobody feels warm. 5-year-old Ella Harper stands at the wooden gate that separates the gallery from the well of the court. Navy blue dress with tiny white flowers, hair in 2 uneven braids, because her grandmother's hands were shaking too hard this morning. Pink sneakers that light up when she moves, except she hasn't moved in 4 full minutes. She is clutching the prosecutor's skirt so tightly the fabric is twisted into rope. Her voice is smaller than the space between heartbeats. I'm scared of him. He'll see me. Across the room, at the defense table, sits Ryan Harper. 34 years old. Cheap gray suit 2 sizes too big because he lost weight in county jail waiting for trial. Hands folded like he's praying, but his knuckles are still scarred from the night he shattered his wife's face. 6 weeks ago, those knuckles put Laura Harper in the ICU with a fractured orbit, broken cheekbone, subdural hematoma, and 4 missing teeth. 6 weeks ago, Ella watched from the top of the stairs while her father dragged her mother across the kitchen by the hair and slammed her head into the cabinet until the screaming stopped. 6 weeks ago, Ryan Harper looked up, saw his daughter watching, and said the sentence that still wakes her up, screaming, "Tell anyone, Ella, and Mommy never comes home." Now the entire case, every charge, every one of the 18 years the prosecutor is asking for, rests on the voice of a child who has not spoken above a whisper since that night. The bailiff tried coaxing her forward. The child advocate tried a teddy bear and a juice box. The victim advocate tried kneeling and promising ice cream for the rest of her life. Nothing works. Prosecutor Elena Rivera turns to the bench, voice cracking for the first time in her 12-year career. "Your Honor, the witness is unable to approach the stand." High above them all sits Judge Harlan Brooks, 63 years old, silver hair combed straight back, face carved from granite and 30 years of sending monsters to prison. In 3 decades on the bench, no one has ever seen him smile. Not once. They say he keeps a locked drawer full of photographs, every defendant who ever hurt a child, with the child's name and the sentence written underneath in red ink. They say he adds a new photo every time he hands down a maximum sentence. He removes his glasses, sets them down on the leather blotter. The soft click echoes louder than any gavel. Then he does something no one in that courthouse has ever seen a judge do in the middle of testimony. He stands up. He steps down from the bench. The black robe sweeps the floor like a funeral flag as he walks, slow, deliberate, straight to the trembling little girl at the gate. 60 people stop breathing at once. He lowers himself to one knee in front of Ella Harper. The robe pools around him like spilled ink. His voice, the same voice that has sentenced murderers to life without parole, drops to something softer than anyone in that room thought possible. "Hey, little one, what's your name?" A whisper. "Ella. Ella." He says it like he's turning the word over in his mouth to make sure it never breaks. "I'm Judge Brooks. Do you know what that means?" She shakes her head, braids brushing her wet cheeks. "It means this is my house, my courtroom, my rules. And rule number 1 is, nobody gets to be scary in here. Not even him." He tilts his head toward Ryan Harper for half a second, just long enough for the defendant to feel 30 years of contempt land on him like a brick, then turns back to Ella. "That witness chair up there looks awfully big and lonely right now, doesn't it?" She nods, tears dripping off her chin onto the marble floor. "Here's an idea," the judge says. "How about you and I sit in it together? You can sit right here." He pats his lap. My robe is bigger than his anger. I'll be your shield. I promise you that. He opens one large, weathered hand. 5 seconds stretch into a lifetime. Then 5 tiny fingers slide into his palm. A sound ripples through the courtroom, half gasp, half sob. Judge Harlan Brooks stands, lifts Ella Harper like she weighs nothing, and wraps her completely inside the black judicial robe until only her face and one pink sneaker are visible. He carries her up the 3 steps to the witness stand, sits down in the witness chair meant for one, and settles her securely on his lap. He reaches forward and lowers the microphone until it's level with her mouth. The court reporter later says she forgot how to type for a full 10 seconds. Elena Rivera approaches the stand slowly, voice trembling. Ella, can you tell the jury what happened on the night of December 12th? Ella looks up at the judge. He gives one small nod. She takes the deepest breath a 5-year-old body can hold, and she speaks, clear, steady, uncoached, unbreakable. Daddy was drinking the brown stuff that makes him mean. Mommy told me to go upstairs and be quiet, but I heard yelling. I came to the top of the stairs. I saw Daddy hit Mommy in the face. She fell down. He hit her again, and again. There was blood on the floor. Lots of blood. Mommy wasn't moving. Daddy looked up and saw me. He said, "If you tell anyone, Ella, Mommy will never wake up." Then the police came. She finishes clutching the black robe so tightly her knuckles are white. Silence. Then the sound of grown adults breaking. A juror in the front row, a grandfather with 4 granddaughters, puts his head in his hands and sobs out loud. Another juror, a nurse who has seen too many domestic violence cases, stares at the ceiling so the tears don't fall. The bailiff, a former Marine who once told people he'd seen everything, wipes his eyes with the sleeve of his uniform. Judge Brooks leans down until his cheek rests against the top of Ella's curls for 1 heartbeat. 2, then speaks into the microphone himself. "Let the record reflect," he says, and his voice cracks for the first time in 30 years, "that this child has just demonstrated more courage than every adult in this room combined." The witness is excused. Ryan Harper's head drops. He knows it's over. The jury deliberates for exactly 41 minutes. Guilty on all counts. Aggravated domestic assault. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm. Child endangerment. Terroristic threatening. 18 years. No possibility of parole. The gavel falls like the closing of a gate. But the moment that will live forever, the moment that leaked from 3 hidden cell phones and racked up 200 million views in a week, happens right after the verdict. Judge Brooks stands, still carrying Ella in his arms, the black robe wrapped around her like armor. He walks down the steps from the witness stand, crosses the well of the court, and kneels in front of Maggie O'Connell, Ella's grandmother, who is sobbing so hard she can barely stand. He gently places Ella into her grandmother's arms. Then he does something else no one has ever seen him do. He stays on one knee so he and Ella are eye to eye. "You, Miss Ella Harper," he says, voice rough with everything he's holding back, "were the bravest person I have ever had in my courtroom. Don't you ever forget that." Ella looks at him with those huge brown eyes still swimming in tears. She reaches out one small hand and touches the silver hair at his temple. "Thank you for being my shield, Judge Brooks." And for the first and only time in 30 years on the bench, in front of 60 witnesses, 3 hidden cameras, and a lifetime of reputation, Judge Harlan Brooks smiles, a real, crooked, human smile that starts in his eyes and breaks across his face like sunrise. The courtroom erupts in applause and tears. Even the deputies are crying. 7 years later, Ella Harper is 12 years old. She lives in a little yellow house with her mom and her grandmother. Her mom's face is healed, though the scars are still there if you know where to look. Ella is in 6th grade, plays midfield on the soccer team, and still sleeps with the one-eyed rabbit she had that night. Every January 30th, a plain white envelope arrives in the mail. No return address. Inside is a single card. The same 6 words every year, written in strong, slanted handwriting. Still your shield. Always. Judge Brooks. He retired the year after the trial, moved to a cabin on Lake Huron. Keeps to himself. But every year on that date the card comes. Because some moments don't end when the gavel falls. Some moments become the reason certain men in black robes get out of bed in the morning. Some moments remind the rest of us what justice really looks like when it decides to be kind. Ella keeps every card in a shoebox under her bed. When she has nightmares, which still happens sometimes, she takes out the newest one, holds it to her chest, and whispers the words back to the dark. Still your shield. Always. And the dark loses every single time. If this story cracked something open in you, comment below and share it. Because every child deserves a shield, and sometimes the strongest ones wear black robes.